Welcome to the fiction, where the uncomfortable questions live. I'm Ifeloa, and this is where we sit with what most people run from. You are not disgusted enough by your own inability. Sit with that for a second. Not the inability of the person next to you, not the system that failed you, not the people who should have done better and didn't. Your inability. The gap between what you know needs to happen and what you are actually doing about it. We are not disgusted enough by that gap. And I genuinely think that's one of the quietest, most dangerous problems we carry. It's not loud, it's not obvious, it doesn't announce itself, it just sits there, dressed up as frustration with someone else. I have a mantra, something I've held on to for a while now, and it goes like this: what annoys me most, what actually deeply unsettles me, is not what the other person is or is not doing. It's my inability to effect the change I know is needed, that I know is desired. My inability, not theirs. Because here's what I've noticed about myself: when something isn't working, when a situation is broken, when things feel stuck, and I can clearly see what needs to change, my first instinct isn't to look inward, it's to look at who is responsible. It's to build a case, to be right about why things are the way they are. And I promise you, I can be very, very convincing, especially to myself. But there's a moment, and maybe you know these moments too, where the argument you're making about someone else starts to feel hollow. Not because you're wrong, you might be completely right, but because being right about them has not moved anything. It doesn't move the needle. Nothing has changed. You're still standing in the same place, holding the same frustration. You're just more articulate about it. That hollow feeling, that is not nothing. That's something trying to tell you where to look. And there's a reason we default outward. It's not weakness. It's actually a very, very efficient psychological move. We all call it projection. This tendency to place our own uncomfortable feelings, our own unacknowledged failures, onto the people around us. And here's the truth: it's not always dramatic. Most of the time, it's quiet. It looks like irritation. It looks like criticism. It looks like being really, really aware of what someone else isn't doing. And yeah, while I was preparing for this, I came about something else. It says fundamental attribution error. And this is the idea that when other people fail, it's so easy to point to a character defect in them, to point to who they are and say, oh, it's because he's a bad person or he's a good person and all that. But when you and I fail, when we fail, we point to the circumstance, the situation, the timing, the resources we didn't have, and all that. We hold others to a standard we quietly exempt ourselves from. And there is this also: disgust. And while I was preparing as usual, I came across a psychologist named Jonathan Haidt, who studies moral emotion, and he argues that disgust is one of the most powerful moral forces we carry. And this is my own addition. I believe it can drive action. It creates boundaries. It says this is not acceptable. We use it all the time, directed outward, at injustice, at hypocrisy, at people who should know and do better. But turned inward, at your own stalling, at your own avoidance, at the version of you that knows exactly what needs to happen and keeps finding reasons not to. Now that's rarer, that's uncomfortable, and I think that's exactly what is missing. Now, I want to be careful here because there's a version of this that goes very, very wrong. There's a difference between disgust and shame. Shame says, I'm the problem, I'm broken, I'm behind, and I will always be behind. The shame collapses inward. It doesn't move you, it paralyzes you. And a lot of us have already spent too much time there. That is not what I'm talking about. So, disgust at your own inability is specific. It points at something. It says, this particular gap, this particular pattern, this particular avoidance is not acceptable to me. Not because I'm worthless, but because I know what I'm capable of. And this isn't it. There's a reason we say I'm disgusted with myself in the moment where we almost did something and didn't, where we had the chance and let it pass, where we watched ourselves choose comfort over the things we actually want. That feeling is information. So most of us reach for it briefly and then redirect it at something external, at something safer to be angry about. Because looking directly at your own inability requires you to also look at your own potential. And that is terrifying in its own way. It's easier to shine your light on someone else's darkness than to turn it on your own. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, in someone else's darkness is entirely yours to fix, apart from what is in yours. So here is where I leave you. Not with an action plan, not with 3 steps. This isn't that kind of podcast. I leave you with a question. The last time you were genuinely frustrated with a situation, with a person, with how something is going, how long did you stay there in the outward frustration? And did you ever turn it around? Did you ever ask, what is my inability here? What am I not doing? What change am I capable of that I haven't made yet? Not to excuse anyone else, not to carry everything alone, but to locate yourself honestly in the problem. Because the truth is, you can be completely right about what other people aren't doing and still be choosing a very comfortable blindness about yourself. Disgust is a tool. Most of us just keep pointing it in the wrong direction. Turn it around. That's the friction for today. Whatever they stirred in you, sit with it. And yeah, share with someone else who needs it too. I'll see you next time.